You've got questions, we've got answers. It's the Anime Advice Question and Answers Show. So today we're going to look at some of the questions you guys have sent in and come up with some answers. So Gia, why don't you put your hand in the box and see what you find?
I have a question from Super Evil 225. Do you speak any language other than English? If yes, what language?
Well, I speak poorly. I speak Spanish just a little, and I speak sign language just a little. So I think if you add those together, I might be able to cobble together spine language.
Let's see. Yo hablo español, pero hace muchos años que mi lección última. Por eso ahora I keep mixing up my Spanish and my Japanese. Actually, it's terrible because I have had 3 years of Japanese. 私は日本語の3年生です。But it's been a while since I had the last lesson in that too. So most of my practice comes from watching anime nowadays.
Next question.
All right. Do you want to?
There you go.
Okay. Okay. It's from Sora the Key. Do you consider Anime Vice to be an anime manga focused site or a Japanese pop culture site?
I consider Anime Vice to be more of an anime manga site. Now, I think that encompasses a lot of pop culture stuff.
Yeah, because anime is the product of Japanese pop culture.
I don't know, and I've worked on pop culture sites where we're not talking about Japanese idols near as much. They factor into it, but I think it's more just about, you know, a culture outside of there that really enjoys these stories,
it's more
this narrative.
About anime and manga, and then we include some amount of Japanese pop culture stuff as context for where anime and manga generally come from. And obviously we do cover a lot of stuff that's not specifically Japanese, stuff like original English language manga, and we've been covering a bunch of stuff about the Avatar movie that's coming up.
Things like the Halo Legends.
We cover stuff that's of interest to anime and manga fans, which occasionally is not necessarily anime or manga.
That's a good way of putting it. We should have started with these. Man, okay, I'm gonna go. No drum roll for me?
Nope. You're not good enough.
Moonstorm asks, if you could forget about watching a show, but remember not wanting to watch it, what show would that not be?
What show would I unwatch?
What show would you unwatch and then know that you would never watch again?
You know, I can't think of one that I watched all the way through, but I would totally unwatch the first episode of God and R, because it was goddamn awful.
On one hand, I've got Gilgamesh, which was a wannabe Evangelion weird show that got to the entire end. I watched every episode, and then it just decided to abort the plot. The entire world blows up, and like Adam and Eve get killed. And then you've got Ease Otherwise, which is hands down the most infuriatingly terrible, shitty, just awful piece of show I've ever seen in my life.
So now you know what not to watch. Eden's Bowie was also pretty lame. Boring. Not even really worth unwatching. It was just not worth watching.
Okay.
Crusader8463. What's your favorite brand of pop? Soda.
Yeah. Weirdo.
Pepsi, Coke, Dr. Pepper, Barq's root beer, etc.
I've got a cherry Coke fetish myself, but root beer is pretty strong in my force.
I like a lot of different sodas, but when it comes down to the Coke Pepsi wars, my dad was from Atlanta, so if you slit my wrist, I will literally bleed Coca-Cola. That's
gross. Hopefully you don't get stuck on a desert island.
You could drink my Coca-Cola blood.
Gross. Oh, Sora the Key. You already did Sora?
I already did Sora. Next time.
I did Super Evil.
Oh,
Rain says, what is your opinion on people who try to use butchered pieces of Japanese culture and language in their everyday life? Baka!
Kawaii! We've been there.
Yeah.
I had my moments when I was a 13-year-old anime fan, I'm sure.
I don't know. It does make me cringe and want to run the other direction slightly, but
it depends on how old the person is.
And
like
in
if
what
you
context.
know, if you've got like a 12 or 13 or even like a 15 or 16-year-old who throws out kawaii and baka all the time, you know, in context where like people would not necessarily know what that was, or people who replace the word like oh my god with oh my kami and things like that. If they're young, you know, everybody does stupid shit when they're young. If we're talking about somebody in college age or older, then it starts to become more and more lame.
Then again, 12-year-old to 13-year-old, you know, kind of like 15-year-old, annoy in general. So that they annoy doing this is mildly unsurprising. I don't know.
Okay. This is going to be our last question. And it comes... Oh, nope, that's not going to be our last question. Tuna has a question. I got a question. If you ever lived in an anime or manga, which one would it be? It's a toughie. There's some good ones up there.
What anime or manga would I want to live in?
You know, that's just really tough. I mean, you want to go with something where, like Full Metal Alchemist has a pretty cool world.
Yeah, do you want to live somewhere where you can get superpowers, or do you want to live in, like, a perfect paradise civilization?
Or do you want to live, like, where you can have a harem? Do you want to live,
do you want to be the angry guy with a shotgun in Dragon Ball Z?
I think I will say Full Metal Alchemist because I dig alchemy. I dig kind of some of the steampunk stuff that's going on. So you've got a really cool mix there. And granted, there's a lot of problems in that world as well. But I think it'd be pretty interesting.
Strike Witches would be a very interesting world to live in. Girls can't wear pants. CG monsters attack.
Pedophile. All right, and that is your Q&A session for the week. Tune back in next week.
Later.